Welcome to Brew Talk. My name is Eric. Thank you for joining us. With me today is Ellie Gurdebeke from the Beerded Dog. So thank you, Ellie, for being on Brew Talk. I appreciate you joining me. I appreciate you doing the only reason why I do this show is so my friends bring me beer to drink.
I knew it.
Yeah, that's the only reason. So before we get started, we should put some of these beers in this glass.
Yes, it's empty.
What would you like to start with? And tell me what you got.
So today I brought some of our more popular beers. By far the best-selling beer at the Dog is our light lager, the Who Let the Dogs Out. The Barktoberfest is my favorite of the lagers. It's got a little bit more bite to it. The Chasing Tail Red Ale, which is really popular as well, and the Dog Days Wheat beer.
Nice. And what do you suggest we start with?
Probably go light to dark, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. I will give you the ability to fill our glasses. I also love the fact that you said that the Barktoberfest has a little bit more bite to it. I really
or bark.
More bark, more bite. I like that. So, brewing at the Beerded Dog. You haven't been doing it for very long now. You're a little over a year.
Yeah,
there?
I'm almost a year into my brewing career.
That's awesome.
I think you get a little bit more there.
Well, I'll take a little bit more. I can never say no to a full glass. So, and we'll leave that in the frame for all of our friends at home who want to watch us drink this delicious beer. So tell us a little about your journey. How did you get into brewing? Where did you start? You said you've got family members that brew as well, but you yourself didn't do much in the ways of home brewing. You just jumped right in.
No, not at all. I've always liked beer. You know, growing up in a Belgian family, beer was always something that my parents had or my grandparents and. My great grandparents used to homebrew and back in the 20s and the 30s, nice. Right? And so the fact that I've kind of taken up the mantle now is something that my grandmother really enjoys talking about. So, I've only been brewing for just under a year and, I'm loving it. It's awesome.
It's a fun career.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of work, but you're right. It's that craft at the end of it all when you can taste this right here and you say to yourself I did that. Damn it, I made this. This is good. Yeah. So cheers to that. That's a fine start for a light lager.
Thank you for the glass.
Of course. Well. Yeah. We got the Beerded Dog glass here and then the Brew Talk glass. So maybe tell us a little bit about your journey, how you found yourself going from just being a grandchild of brewers to finding yourself in the industry rather than, jumping in with a home brewery scene, getting right into the job and taking over.
So I was on maternity leave. My daughter Rowan was born June 2021. And so as my maternity leave was coming to an end the following year, I had previously been a manager at a video game store. That store closed. And so all of a sudden, at the end of my leave, I was going to have to come up with a new career, essentially, right? So it wasn't a lot of opportunity for me to move around. So I started self-evaluating, what do I like? What do I want to do? I'm going on 30. Where do I go from here? This now being my third career in 10 years. So
Right.
So I just started talking to people that I knew in the industry. My husband's uncle was a brewer in Toronto. And so I approached him and said, hey, should I take a course? How do I start? What should I start doing? And he
beer.
Yeah, I like beer. How do I do beer?
Yeah.
So he pointed me in the right direction, which was, read and, start looking stuff up and
yeah. And then from there
I stumbled across an article from CTV, I believe it was, that Tammy at chapter 2 at the time.
Yep.
She had done a Pink Boots collaboration brew date for women in fermentation.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I want to do that. And so I called Tammy and she's taken over being my mentor and steered me in the right direction and given me all sorts of opportunity.
And so you started with, you joined Tammy a few times at chapter 2, right? So and brewed with her and...
She let me shadow a couple of days, and then from there told me that if I wanted to get some experience, I should try homebrewing. Yeah. And I think it was that afternoon I came into Jake's and I bought a setup.
Yeah, I remember seeing you then. So, and then one thing led to another, and now you're the head brewer at the Beerded Dog.
Which has been an amazing opportunity. I never thought I'd stumble into something so quickly. Yeah. So it's awesome.
And being a part of the Pink Boots brew this year, this time around. Actually, you were a part of it last year too, were you not? No, it was the article you read.
Yeah, it was the article that I had read that led me into it.
That led you into it. You're right. And then now
Yep.
And that's tomorrow. So today's date, Thursday, March 9th.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's March 10th. And that is the next brew day, because yesterday was International Women's Day.
Yep.
And so the Pink Boots collaboration is kicking off
Yeah.
tomorrow. And Tammy's now at the Grove, and it's being done at the Grove,
Yes,
right?
that's right. Yep.
And
And
the
so
same
people,
crowd.
yeah, people that we partnered with before,
Mm-hmm.
and then as well as I believe Vanessa from Kingsville is joining us this
Yep.
year. The Beerded Dog is joining as well. So it's kind of just come full circle that this is how I got into the industry, and now I'm actually going to be participating this year.
That's super cool.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, when you started, I realized it was kind of maybe not a spur of the moment, but a new career change to get yourself in there. But after you moved into working with Tammy and then started over at the Bearded Dog, what kind of challenges did you experience going into a commercial setting almost immediately, like learning as you went, I suppose?
Yeah, for sure. And it was like I didn't really have a really strong background to fall on. So a lot of it was learning it on the fly, like a lot of the scientific stuff, or, I haven't done anything like that since grade 11, science class or whatever in high school. So coming back and learning a little bit more of the chemistry and kind of building up that background, it was definitely been the most difficult part for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Realizing what bacteria is and how to get rid of it.
It's like the tip of the iceberg, and I'm like standing on top of the tip of the iceberg. Like I don't have anything when I started. So
I guess with that being said, coming up this year is the new Masters of the Brewniverse competition, which the Bearded Dog holds the title from last
big
year.
shoes to fill, I think.
So as the brewer for that, maybe a little sneak peek of the beer that you're gonna. We don't have to tell us all what it is.
Okay.
Maybe with just the hops that are in it or something.
Well, we're playing around right now. There's definitely 2 that I want to do, maybe a third. I really want to go with like a really solid style and then kind of do a twist on that.
Of course, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Do I want to spill the beans yet? Or
Yeah, you don't have
I'm
to,
still playing around with it.
This doesn't come out for another couple of weeks.
That's fine. I'll keep it under wraps for now in case it turns out wrong.
Yeah. Or you just change your mind, like in the podcast. Hey, she said she was going to make a stout, and it turns out that it's like a wheat
plot
beer
twist.
or something. Yeah. So that's really cool. I really look forward to that. I'll be attending this year. I won't be in part of the festival, so I guess that means I just don't have to vote for myself.
Are you going to show up with the belt on?
No, I think I think you guys should. Yeah. Honestly, I didn't go home after work. I was going to bring it and give it to you on camera and go, this is yours now. At least you can put it on your booth when you guys.
Yes.
That's right. So, but I didn't, so you don't get it.
That's okay. That's fine.
But that's really cool that you're. So this will be the first competition for you. Have you entered anything else? So
no, we participated in our first festival in the fall, and so that was a big step for the dog. And this is going to be my first competition.
Right. Are you planning on just going to the festival, or are you going to run the booth and serve too and root everyone on?
He said that I wouldn't have to work the booth, so I was just going to attend.
Yeah, you don't have to work the booth.
Scope out the competition and
absolutely.
Then, we'll see.
Lie to everyone. Oh, that beer's awful over there. You should go try the Bearded Dog
just start like whispering and
or do what I did and just get shirts printed.
Yeah,
wear them around all night long. Just be the loudest person there. One of the questions that I like to ask everyone is in Windsor, Essex. There's always new changes. New breweries are popping up. Where do you think that the scene in Windsor, Essex is going to go as far as brewing, breweries, festivals?
I definitely think there's lots of room to grow. I mean, you look at like the density of breweries and brew pubs that you have in Michigan or in Detroit, and the population. Whereas here we don't have that. We haven't hit that saturation point yet.
Right.
So I definitely feel like there is a lot of beer tourism, people who will come down from Toronto and maybe just skip right by Windsor and go to Detroit.
Right.
Where why not make us a pit stop?
Absolutely.
So why not make Windsor more of a hotspot for that sort of thing, especially when we have resources in Detroit that we're able to pull on.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm constantly looking at the Michigan Brewers Guild and the way that they have things running, all of the craft breweries that are there. It's insane to think that something that's so close to us is just so far ahead in terms of what they offer. I mean, I realize I'm sure licensing in the States is a little bit different than it is in Canada, but at the same point, like we're all in the same industry, so why can't we push it? I think we just need to make a little bit more noise down here. Get people, like you said, coming down from Toronto to go to Detroit, get them to stop here.
For sure. I definitely think there's a lot of room for growth.
Yeah. Awesome. No, that's great. And it's funny you say that the area is, not that saturated, where I in my opinion, I think it's the other way around.
Oh,
but
really?
In a way, I think it's good because we may be a lot of breweries for the area, but I think with all of us working together, there is room for a lot of voices to be heard, right?
Yes.
If we're all making the same noise, then maybe people can.
Well, I think we're spread out, right? Because you have
Yes.
Windsor, and then you also have the county communities,
Yeah.
right? So,
And that's where a lot of the breweries are popping up
Yeah,
now. It's out in the county.
for sure.
Beerded Dog's out in the county. So it's that drive out to the county every day.
everyone's so intimidated by it, but it's like doing it, back and forth a couple times a week now. It's a nothing drive. Like people day trip to London, just Harrow's half an hour.
Yeah. So now that you've got your feet wet in brewing, which is very true, but literally your feet are wet. Mine are wet right now. Now that you've done it, is there any style like that maybe when you first got into it, you were like, I really love this style of beer, but as time went on and you started brewing, like, do you have a favorite style that you like to drink, or a favorite style that you like to brew, or do you is it the same? Like I love IPAs. I hate making them.
Yeah, I'll agree with
I
that.
hate making them. I hate clogging up pipes and.
Yeah, I've broken a couple of pumps now because I get all that settlement.
Yeah.
Definitely, my favorite thing to brew is darker beers. I love it.
The
it
aroma
smells so good.
Yeah.
But I do really like throwing a bunch of hops into an IPA in
Yeah.
the kettle, though. That smells really good too.
Yeah, I'm the guy when I go to any restaurant and I see all the lists of beers on tap, and it's just like I see that IPA and I'm like, I'll take one of those. But I don't make them myself, or very rarely do I make them. So I like to go out and try everyone else's. So
our lagers are like the best-selling beers that we have, so I've had to really jump into lagering and being able to make them pretty consistently. And so I like the lagers, but definitely not my favorite to make. Right?
Yeah. You're right. There's too much that can go wrong with something that doesn't have a lot of flavor. With those dark beers, you can
just
throw everything
in. It looks like mud. It's fine.
Good enough. It'll taste fine in a month. Do you think that there's a trend going forward with styles like sours had their popularity? And now it's summertime, you get your sours. Wintertime, you get your stouts. Do you see a trend maybe or something that would take off that maybe isn't so normal? Like, there was that big IPA push, and then we went to hazies, and then, with sours being as popular coming around, like, where do you think that market is going to go? Like, obviously the lager still being the popular seller, like they've never really fallen off, but.
I think that people are getting a lot more experimental, and they're really trying to pull the rug out from under like styles. So like white stouts or lagered IPAs, right? Like they're just trying to just throw things up and see what lands, right?
Yeah.
Where I don't think that you're going to see like really rigid, people adhering really rigidly to those styles.
Right.
There's going to be a lot more room for experimentation.
Exactly. Yeah. I love experimental brews, right? Just throw everything in a kettle and hope it ferments. Michael right now, if he's listening to this, he's ripping his BJCP catalog in half because he's just so angry.
Yesterday I saw Michael and he was like, what's this white stout business I hear you up to? I was like, man.
It'll be in the catalog next year, Michael. You'll be judging
There'll
one.
be a whole category of white stouts.
And he'll be judging them too. One of the things that I myself think about when I first started drinking beer, I was young and it was beer bottles, right? It was easy to open beer bottles. And as time has gone on, then there was the growler phase, and now growlers are faded out and cans are back. And, I hate the fact that I have to put beer in cans, but we've got cans. That's what's popular. With a newer generation, this younger generation coming forward into beer drinking, do you think that there's going to be another new change of popularity, or do you think cans right now are the peak?
Yeah, I think cans are pretty solid. Like even you have water companies that are switching over to aluminum cans,
really?
right?
Yeah.
I think that going forward, it's cheap, it's recyclable, it's convenient. They chill really fast. You don't have to worry about glass.
Yeah, great for camping. It's so funny though how something that was hated.
I do hate the can though. Like I'll never drink out of a can. It's like that's the tough part.
I mean, put it into a glass. I don't mind the beer in the cans. Like there was always that mentality. People are like, "Oh, give me beer out of a bottle rather than a can. I can taste the can."
Right?
Yeah. Sure, whatever. I don't mind the beer in the can. I hate having to put the beer in the can.
Oh yeah. See, I haven't done that yet. So
you will, and you'll hate it.
Okay.
When I first started homebrewing, I think I bottled once. And then I realized that it was just this absolute disaster. Yeah. There's shit everywhere, and I was just done with it. I think I went out and bought a keg like a year before I had a keg fridge. I just sat a keg on my living room and had a little thumb tap.
Everyone told me that you're going to hate bottling. Yeah. So I already had a kegerator at home.
Yes.
And so I just bought the corny.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. The fact that you already had a kegerator going into it. So.
Yeah, I totally bypassed that step. I was like, I don't want to deal with it.
Well, you know what? You did yourself a favor. You played your cards right in that one. Yeah. So, going back to the Pink Boots thing that you're working in tomorrow, obviously brewing is or has been, as the years have progressed, a very male-dominated industry. Yep. The fact that you're a part of this Pink Boots brew that's happening tomorrow with 3 or 4 women that are brewers in our area. Like, okay, yeah, we've got 12 or 14 breweries, but there's 4 women brewers as the head brewers.
It's a pretty good ratio.
Exactly. Like it's really starting to blend together. So I know like you said, you're a little newer in the industry, so you haven't really had to experience too much of the trials of a woman in a man's world, if you will. But it's nice that you're able to, the business that you work for is owned by, it's a husband-wife team, right? So
and Kim, like she runs it, like, and Ray as well.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
That's great that you've got a woman empowerment behind you as well, too, right?
We got backup.
You got backup, exactly. Now, that being said, have you heard horror stories?
God,
Yeah.
Like, I was totally warned before I even set foot in the industry that it was definitely male dominated, and that I was probably going to experience some discrimination. Luckily, I haven't had any kind of pushback. At the festival, people were like, "Oh, you don't look like a brewer." I was like, what does a brewer look like, right? Like,
you don't have a beard.
Yeah, I don't have a beard. So.
I don't have a beard.
I'm wearing the plaid, though.
There we go. You got the plaid. You're halfway there. Give me the plaid or give me the beard. You need a flat cap.
I do. Yeah. Sorry.
Flat cap and suspenders.
No, I look like a kid.
Give me a flat cap and give me suspenders. I could sit here and mansplain to you why your lager's wrong. No, I'm just kidding. I would never do that.
Please do. No.
Honestly, this is a delicious beer. For anyone who hasn't tried a Beerded Dog, they are out in Harrow, right on King Street. Yep. So they're right on the corner. Go check them out. Ellie's the one making all the magic on tap there, and Ray's usually behind the bar. So say hi to Ray. Let him know you heard it on Brew Talk, and go check it out. So I guess one of the other things to talk about. I know I'm kind of bouncing around here. My notes this week are a little more scattered. Do you feel that with Michigan right across the border from us? Do you think that, like, with the way that we're going as Windsor and Canada, even Southern Ontario, that we're following Michigan, or do you think we're starting to carve our own path just from what you've seen going to all the different locations? I feel like that kind of mirrors Canada and the U.S.'s relationship in general, right? Like, there's always going to be like bleed over between them and us, and everyone always says that Canada is like the little brother, right? Yep. And so we're always kind of following along. But, I feel like there are certain things that we do better, for sure, in beer. If you were to say, give someone who is interested in getting into the industry, I realize yours was, a really cool little make a phone call. You got lucky, right place at the right time. If you had suggestions for someone who's doing the same thing right now, looking for a career change and wanting to get into this industry, where would you recommend? Home brewing is awesome. And it's pretty simple to like get a setup. Like I did the Brewzilla. It's super easy to learn and get a handle on it. And that's probably been the biggest learning tool that I've had off, like not at work. And I say just take the plunge, like I'm 31, this is my 3rd career. Like you can't be afraid to jump into something, because there's never going to be, a perfect time or, a sign that this is what you're supposed to do. It's if you want to do it, just do it, right? And then see what happens. Great, yeah. And honestly, you're right. I think the jumping into something, it doesn't always work. Sometimes it does. You learn as you go, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You learn from your mistakes and you grow from there. But sure, to have a little bit of background. I'm not saying you got to be a home brewer for 10 years before getting started, but definitely getting home brewing with the tools that are out there now too. Like you said, the Robo Brew or the
Brewzilla. It makes it dead easy.
it's so easy doing it that way, you know, because you can brew inside.
Yep.
And it at your own leisure. Your temperature control is easy.
Yeah.
It's far more intimidating than it actually is, you know.
And I think that's it, right? It's taking that first step that is the biggest step, and then going from there. It's, you know, just picking things up as you go.
Yeah, and a little bit of an investment too, I suppose. Not everyone has, you know, I'd say probably around $1,000 to get yourself started,
get going,
you know, in the industry. But to get started, get your feet wet. And honestly, I got an email today. Prices of grain are going up.
Yeah.
Although the taxes are changing, so beer store prices are going up.
Yeah, I heard
like
that.
there is no better time now to get into home brewing if you're especially looking to save money.
Yeah, because home brewing is still, at the end of the day, way cheaper than, you know, rolling up to the beer store every
Absolutely,
week. So
yeah.
that's really why, you know, we started with the kegerator.
Yeah, that's why I started home brewing. I was drinking OV.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
We crushed OV during that first summer of the pandemic. We're like, this is not financially viable. Like,
this isn't sustainable. I can't live like this. Do you find that brewing to you, now that you're in the industry, is more than just your 9 to 5, if you will? Like, do you care about the product that you're making? Is it a career that you think you're going to want to continue to grow in and make an impact on?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that the more involved I get with it, the more passionate I become about it.
Nice.
Because it's all these little things that you didn't even really know was a part of it. And then I went to my first hop rub as part of the Pink Boots, and it was having all the hops lined up and smelling them all individually and seeing what the differences were and what, like, that was amazing. That was great. It was a great experience. And I was like, I didn't know I loved hops so much. They all just smelled like grass before.
I've got a little sack in my car with like some hops in there, and I'll occasionally just like rub it, and then I'll go inside of a store and come out, and then my car smells like Cascade.
Yeah.
And it's like, who needs an air freshener?
No, it's amazing. They're so great. And the same thing with greens too. It's like, oh yeah, just pop it in your mouth and eat it. They're great.
Absolutely. So, you know, maybe this is a question, not a personal question, but I don't want to overstep Ray and Kim or anything, but how much say do you get in the new beers, the trials? Do you get to come to them and say, hey, I made this beer, or do they tell you, hey, we want this beer?
They're super supportive too.
Nice,
and they, it's honestly, they're amazing because they kind of give me the freedom to say, hey, you know, I kind of would like to try this. And then they're like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And then he comes forward and Ray says, okay, I want this style. Yeah. And so how can we work that into it? So there's a give and take there.
Absolutely.
But they're super, super supportive. And they know that I'm new at this.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be like some failures or some wiggle room there.
Of course. It's nice that you guys have your own tap room and everything right connected to it too. So with your volume, with your size, it's not like you're brewing 10 barrels that you need to push out and all the licensees just going to the tap room. You know, you can get a little bit more of a turnaround and feedback almost immediately, right?
Yeah. Every time I'm working, I'm like poking my head through the kitchen door. I'm like, okay, what are they drinking?
Yeah.
Like, what's that face mean? Like,
just start walking up to tables and be like, how do you like the beer?
Yeah.
Just get in their face.
Completely like unbranded too.
Yeah.
Just like some random.
Just turn your hat around. Excuse me, sir. Tell me a little bit about this beer that you're drinking. I'd like to know. You know, you said you've got a daughter, Rowan. I always ask everyone about, you know, their pets, which you guys do have pets as well.
Cats, not dogs. Sorry.
Right, that's okay. That's okay. You're working at the Bearded Cat, not the Bearded Dog.
Well, Hiccup, he's basically a dog. He shakes paw for treats. He greets me when I come home. He's a big.
Pets are fantastic, right? But you know, the fact that you've also got Rowan in there as well, which is really cool, because you know, like, I don't have children, and a lot of people I find, like, in this age group, it's not as common as it used to be.
Definitely
anymore.
not.
So, do you find yourself, you know, struggling sometimes to say, like, okay, Rowan, like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
You know, can you bring her with you? I guess if you
I guess
had to.
I could, yeah. Again, like, because of our volume, I'm only working part-time right now.
Sure.
But that does give me some room to be able to say, oh, like, I have a babysitter these days, I can go in these days, or, you know, maybe not so much this week, or so I'm able to kind of, I joke that I'm an outdoor cat. I just kind of wander in, brew the beer, and then leave. So
on your own schedule.
On my own schedule, which is super, super nice and accommodating.
Yeah.
So I am able to, you know, stay home and spend some time with Rowan as she grows up. Yeah.
That's great, especially starting a new career, right? Because you really want to put your best foot forward, and it's hard when you're trying to, have a family too.
Yeah.
Super supportive husband, you know, Albert.
Oh my God,
Shout out to Albert.
Yeah, he's amazing. He was the first one because when we made the move from Toronto to come back to Windsor, I was giving up my career in television. And so he was super supportive. He was like, you want to do this? Go do it. Don't worry about the money. Don't worry about the paychecks. If this is what you want to do, give it a shot.
Absolutely.
Which is amazing.
And he loves beer too. So that makes it way easier.
His biggest complaint is that now that I'm brewing professionally, I'm not home brewing as much as he would like. So our tap runs dry every now and then.
Well, you gotta stay on top of that too, I suppose, right?
You can babysit an afternoon and then
Awesome. Well, I suppose my beer glass is empty here. Maybe we should crack open one of these and we could talk a little bit more about these styles.
Yeah. Do you want to do the red ale?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the red's
this one here.
This one here.
That one.
Oh, that's the wheat.
That's the wheat. No, let's do the red.
Okay.
Marktoberfest. So you said this was just canned. Oh no, then not that one. It was one of the other ones. Was just canned recently.
Yeah. So we have a whole new lineup of cans coming out.
Okay.
Oops, that's a little bit there. And then, I think the stout is coming up on our new can line. And there's a couple of other varieties that we're having available this week.
Nice color on that. So when you brew, do you guys decide beforehand that you're going to be canning it, or is it going to be this is going on tap, and then after it's been on tap for a little while, if there's still a keg left, you can that off?
Yeah, so like at the seasonals, we you don't want to drink a gingerbread beer in March, so we pulled that, and so maybe can that off, or
sure,
depending
because there are suckers that will take a gingerbread beer in March.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, yeah, I think we got cans of that now. Maybe?
Hey, wonderful.
Yeah, so. Yeah, this is one of our more popular beers.
Nice,
all the guys in Harrow really love the red ale.
Yeah.
And even when we did the festival in October, I brought the Barktoberfest and the red ale, and the red ale leaps and bounds outpoured the Barktoberfest.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So coming up in the future, you've got the Brewniverse competition, and then do you guys have any big plans going forward after that? You want to start getting involved in festivals more? And
I'd be down for anything. Like, I would love to participate. I mean, maybe it's because I'm so new at this, and like 6 or 7 festivals in, I'd be like dreading it.
I hate this.
I will say my thumb after the festival, cracking cans all night, I was like, it was going to snap off.
Yeah.
It was so sore.
That's why I see the waitresses, and they always got the waiters, they've always got the thing in their back pocket, right?
Yeah.
Pop
Gio Heritage next to me, he had a spoon. I was like, bro, where was that hot tip?
give me a spoon. Where was that hot tip? Awesome. Well,
cheers.
Cheers. That's a good beer.
I'm glad they're still cold-ish.
Like every brewer, you live out of your car and...
Yeah, they're in my car from yesterday.
They were in your car. Yeah, that's okay. It's cold enough outside.
Yeah.
I got to start letting people know when I'm doing these podcasts in the summertime. It's like, you can't leave your beer in the car, man.
Sorry.
It just doesn't fly.
Bring it home and refrigerate it.
Well, I really appreciate you coming out and spending the time here. I'm sorry we couldn't keep going and crack these other 2 beers. That just means I get to take them.
That's fine.
Home.
I'm taking this.
That's fine. You can have that glass. But no, I really appreciate you coming out. I wish you guys the best of luck at the festival or at the competition.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. I hope Beerded Dog does it 2 years in a row.
We're called the reigning champs, but really,
hey, that's a name.
Okay.
Doesn't matter who the brewer was. It's the business. So
no pressure.
No pressure. I'll be rooting for you.
Thank you.
I'll be rooting you on. And then your Pink Boots brew tomorrow,
yes.
Goes really well. Will you guys be carrying that as well?
Yes.
Is it going to be split up? Okay, so the Pink Boots will be available at the Beerded Dog.
Yeah, so we're brewing it at the Grove, but I believe that most of the people that are participating are taking the product home.
Wonderful. So it's something that'll be available within, I would say, probably by the time this episode airs. So
probably, yeah.
So it is Thursday, March 10th is the Pink Boots brew. So by the end of March, beginning of April, we're hoping to see that on shelves. So that would be fantastic. I know I'd like to get my hands on a few of those.
Yeah, well, the way that the Shut Up Rose sold last year, I mean, you got to get on it, because I went the next weekend and it was completely sold out. So
yeah, absolutely. I was lucky enough to get my hand on a few of those. So it was a good beer.
Pretty good,
so yeah. Do you know if it's a new recipe? I don't know how much you're allowed to give away.
I don't know either.
Yeah. Is it a new recipe?
Is it a new recipe?
Okay.
It's a new hop blend.
All right. Oh yeah, that's right. The new hop blend. Yeah.
I don't know. Can I say more?
I don't know.
It's my book.
Sure.
There.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't want to give away too much and spoil it. The can artwork looks amazing too.
I haven't seen that yet.
I'm pretty stoked about that.
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to try the beer. I mean, you got to have all these fantastic, very, very, involved
experience.
brewers.
Everyone is so
yeah.
Awesome.
It's going to be a cool show. Is there going to be media there tomorrow? Do you know? You guys going to have photos taken? And
I'll take pictures on my phone.
Absolutely.
And
I
Instagram.
I want a picture.
For
at least one.
all of my followers on Instagram.
That's right. I'll share it. I'll share it for everyone. Where do you get the most joy from brewing? Like you said, when you did that hop rub and you realized, oh my God, I love hops. What part of brewing is it that really, like, when you're creating recipes, is it the hops? Is it the idea of, like, how can yeast change your beer? The malts, there's so much variety that you can do with beer. Like, what is it that really speaks to you?
I think all of it, honestly, like the variety, like you said, the variety that you can get in malts, the variety you can get in yeast. And, one yeast strain could make that beer taste like completely different. Like you could have the same recipe and 10 different yeast, you're going to get 10 different beers, right? Or same malt recipe, 10 different hops, you're going to get 10 different beers.
Right.
So that being able to substitute things out and swap and mix it up is amazing. Mm-hmm. There's like two aspects of brewing that I really enjoy. And one of them is that, can I say batshit crazy?
There's no rules on Brew Talk.
I don't know if you could swear or not. So like that batshit wild experimental side of it. And then like being able to produce that really super consistent lager, that's your flagship or whatever, right? And so, I don't know, that experimental stuff is wild and intimidating, but I love it.
Yeah, because that's when you can taste something and go, oh God, I'm not going to serve that to anyone.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, or you taste it and you go, holy shit, how do I do that
I am a sucker for feedback though.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I love watching people's faces. Like if someone in the restaurant gets a flight and I'm just like watching them, like, oh, okay.
What beer did they just drink?
Yeah. What was that? Yeah.
You're always hitting right up. Okay. What did they give me?
Yeah, I need to know.
Yeah. In order, what did they drink?
Or I'm on Untapped the next day and I'm like creeping out all my reviews. Like this guy gave it like a what? Untapped.
You know what? Untapped has its moments.
Yeah.
It's great when Jay from Craft Heads was on here and he's reading the same beer, a glowing positive review.
Yeah.
And then about the same beer in the next review, I believe it was Nacho Libre's Belly Button was the flavor of the beer or something. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, like such a delicious beer turned around into something that is how do you even get a flavor like that? Like, are you drinking the same beer that guy was?
It does get really wild. And because there isn't really like a guideline, it's like when I'm sitting there and I'm rating beers, it's like a 2 is I'll finish it. I wouldn't order it again. A 3 is I liked it. 4 is I'll order this again. But there isn't really that defined kind of guidelines. So people can just decide whatever they want.
Well, that's it. And everyone's flavor, you've seen it in firsthand experience that everyone's taste buds are so different.
Oh, it's completely different. Yeah. Like there's some people that, like they'll give it a 0.75 or they'll give it a 5, right? Like there's so much variable.
Yeah. And it's really hard to brew for such a wide spectrum of palates, right? Like something that you can think like, this isn't that great. And it's gone the next day off tap and you can't figure out why. Please God, don't make me brew that awful thing again.
That was like I did a cranberry saison for the holidays and I really loved it. Like it was, to me, in my mind, it was just a really solid saison with a little bit of tartness and everyone was like, it's not cranberry enough. It's not cranberry enough. I'm like, this is really good, guys. I swear.
The second you start saying that there's a flavor in there, you better like punch them in the face. This is a blueberry. Okay, well then it needs to be blueberry. Yeah. But what people think of flavors, once you run them through fermentation, like it's not the same flavor.
No, and it's like notes of, it's not, you're getting smacked in the face with the cranberry.
That's it. The only way you're going to get a big blueberry or a big cranberry flavor is with a big jug of artificial flavoring that tastes like the candies that we were used to eating as a kid. Sure. This is a Runts beer.
That would be pretty good.
It probably would. But you know what? We'll leave it to the guys at Craft Heads to make a Runts beer. But they would use like boxes of Runts.
I saw a guy do a homebrew with Trix cereal and he literally just took boxes and boxes of Trix cereal. how much flavor are you going to get out of that?
The guys did that at the Craft Heads guys did
Yeah?
that. The serial killers. Yeah. They had a
missed that
graham
one.
cracker one. It was, what's the graham?
Oh, Golden Grams.
Golden Grams.
Yeah.
They had a Golden Gram one. I remember that one really stood out for me as a really neat
That's
flavor.
the bonker stuff that I like, though. Like,
Yeah. Right. Let someone else do it though.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to tell you that's, I like it. I like to experiment too. Years of home brewing. I've got that experimental,
For sure.
you know, feel behind it all. But, you know, when you're trying to just put beer on tap that people want to drink, those guys got like 50 taps or something.
yeah,
else
like
they
my
can
goal right now
afford.
is not to poison anybody.
Right.
And make something halfway drinkable.
Luckily with alcohol.
Yeah, with
botulism
that's
won't
fine.
exist.
So like those are my small goals right now, and then I think that as I get more experience, I'll try and get a little more crazy.
Yeah. You know, everyone at the end of the day, what that comes into your brewery, they're getting the positive results, right? They're getting the things that have made it through fermentation. You sampled them and they're like, okay, this is fine to serve this. But, you know, even the pros still screw up. I know you've got an, oh my God, I fucked up moment somewhere in there. Do you have any good stories that you want to share of? You don't have to share them. I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, we were talking about wet feet earlier, and I was doing the Robo Brew, and I didn't put the foot on properly, and so the whole chute just went shunk right back into the thing and splashed wort up.
Yeah.
And I was brewing in socks, so I couldn't get them off my feet fast enough.
Yep.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
But no, luckily there haven't been anything, like I haven't had like wort spilling out of the hose or whatever yet. Nothing like that. But there's been a couple where I'm like, here, Ray, try this. I think it's infected. And he's like, oh. And then like goes and spits it out. So I feel bad. But
I think this got infected.
oh, yeah.
No, it's fine. We'll serve it.
No, that one didn't make it.
Is there like some sort of maybe niche in the industry that you want to fill? Like, okay, for example, we were just talking about Craft Heads and how those guys have, you know, they do all those crazy wild experimental brews, which is hilarious because when Jay was on here, they said that they're trying to get back into
They're trying to tone it down. And I'm like, what? No, that's your whole shtick,
that's what
man.
you guys do, and you're good at it. But is there something like in the market that you would want to grab, like hybrids or some sort of like creativity? You know, if you were given the freedom to express yourself, is there something that you would find yourself going more?
That's a good question.
For?
I mean, it's interesting because I kind of am at either end of the spectrum where I really, really like those traditional hardline, you know, this is this style. And then I do like those nonsense, like wild and crazy things, right?
Yeah.
And so I think being able to do both really well would be really cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, just not poison anybody. You know?
Just not poison anybody. So the end goal at the end of the day is to not poison anybody.
Yeah.
You know what? Solid start.
I mean, the bar is down here, so I can only go up from there.
Alcohol poisoning doesn't count.
That's not
on
my
them.
fault.
That's right.
Yeah, that's not my fault. Yeah.
Let's open up this week. We'll finish the note.
So all the dogs on the labels. I don't know if you knew this.
Tell us, this is great for the. So let's talk about the labels you've guys got here.
I don't know how Ray does it. It's amazing. He comes up with all these dog pun names. They're great, and I love them. But then on these 3 labels here, I think we've got Charles on the Who Let the Dogs Out, and then Zoe, and Ivy and Joy.
Yeah, I don't know. There we got
Zoe. So Charles, Ivy, and Joy, those are Ray and Kim's dogs.
Nice.
And Zoe, I think, is the graphic artist.
Okay.
So they always try and feature someone who has a pet, you know, at the brewery, or all the dog names are great. So like the Saison was Silent Bite. The Bark at the Moon was the gingerbread, no, the pumpkin. The pumpkin.
Yeah, I remember Bark at the Moon.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. Just sitting there and coming up with the different dog names is awesome.
It's great because with my brewery right around the corner from you guys, because I'm also in Harrow, you know, the Harrow is so popular that there's now 2 breweries in there. A lot of times, you know, at the end of my day when it's time to kill, I end up at the Dog. And so I've been able to sample a lot of these beers as you've been making them. And I know we've talked a lot, you know, while you're working, and we've brewed together a couple of times ourselves. So I guess going forward, I'm really excited to see what you continue to push out as you grow and as the Beerded Dog grows and your experience and knowledge gets further into it and to the point where you're going to hate it.
Thank you.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it becoming mundane because right now it's just exciting and fun.
I hope you never lose that, you know, and I haven't. I haven't yet. I still love brewing. Yeah. And so it's not everyone, you know, this is just like any career. You're going to have the guys that have been doing it for 20 years and it is their 9 to 5. It is their
I don't
paycheck.
ever want that.
Yeah, no, I'm not there yet either, but I'm also still very excited. You know, I am still relatively new in the commercial side of things. You know, I've been home brewing for 10 years, but I'm still very excited. I'm looking forward to festivals. You know, I'm a beer geek. I want to geek out about it. I want to talk about it with other beer geeks.
It's almost like an art, right? Like you have a craft that you are working towards perfecting or, you know, modifying, or, you know, it's something to get excited about. There's endless possibilities of what you can do with, you know, hops, barley, water, yeast. Yeah. Right? Like those 4 things you can turn into thousands and millions of different combinations. So
as long as they're in the BJCP catalog.
Yeah.
Rip it up, throw it away. Let's try something new. I had a thought during there, but it's gone now. So.
All 4 ingredients.
All millions, 4 ingredients.
Millions and billions and billions.
Billions of stars. The beer is delicious if you drink it properly.
That's too good. Shut up. That's really good.
And that's Carl Sagan, ladies and gentlemen. So now this is a wheat beer.
That is a wheat beer.
That is a wheat
You're
beer.
right.
That's a delicious wheat beer.
Thank you.
Tell the brewer she did a good job.
I'll take it.
You're talking about the spilling the beer on your socks when you were brewing there.
Oh my God, it was so painful.
Before I switched to my
ducks,
to my bloodstones there. Before I switched to those, I was doing I had the ducks first, and then I switched to these because they're more comfortable. But I was just brewing in sneakers, and I dumped. Luckily it wasn't wort. It was just water. But it was about 180-degree water right on my shoe. And like you said, I ran into the cooler and pulled my shoe off in the cooler. Yeah. And then I went home because I looked at how much skin was missing off the top of my foot.
Oh no, mine wasn't that bad.
No, yeah.
No. It blistered up, but like I was able to it was sitting, I jumped back. So I'm in my laundry room on the concrete. So I jumped back and like ripped my sock off, but then I'm trying to avoid the puddle with the other foot. So a couple blisters, but the brewer before me, he was brewing in shorts and sandals. Yes. And I was like, I've drenched myself numerous times and burned my feet so many times. It's like, I don't know how you're alive. Yeah. How do you have all 10 toes on your
That's why I wear jeans. Like jeans are really good because like the heat kind of dissipates in them.
Yeah.
I've been soaked in wort enough times in the jeans that I know they're pretty good.
It cools down pretty quick before.
But yeah, you're right. Like it just takes 1 minute. Like people don't realize that like 170-degree water and up, like that's instant burn. Yeah. And when you start getting into like the boiling temperatures, like one bad mistake can ruin you.
Yeah. There's been a couple of times where my glasses have saved me, where I'll get a splash of something and I'm like, oh, I almost was blind. Yep.
Yeah. I got myself a pair of safety goggles that I wear when I'm mashing in and stuff, because it's the same thing. Like there's been a few times where it's just the stir and you hit it the wrong way. Yeah. And it splashes back. I've burnt my stomach through my shirt like that. It's starting to clear up now, but there's a little burn here. That was just a hop.
Scar here from kegging something.
God, it's a rough industry, eh? Yeah. We get a little beat up over doing it.
That's fine. So. It's very physical too. Like I've noticed that I'm kind of like, I don't exercise. I don't go to the gym. I'm a weakling. Beer. You know, like I lift a toddler 40, 50 times a day and that's my workout. But like moving kegs, moving barley bags. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm exhausted. Yeah. And now after having been like working for 6 months or whatever, and it's like, oh yeah, no problem.
That's right.
Throw that up there.
Yeah. And even I'm sure like you probably experience this a lot more than say someone my size would, but you probably find your technique of ways to get things moving a little bit better, right?
It might take me a little bit longer, but there's a way that I can do it safely without like totally discombobulating my spine.
Being in this industry, someone my size, like obviously like there's a lot of heavy lifting. It's a very physical job, like you said, lifting kegs. You're going back to the conversation of it being a male dominated industry, I suppose at a certain point in time, why can't a woman do it, even if it is physical? Like, for you to lift a bag of grain is a little bit different for me to lift a bag of grain, but it gets to the point where I'm sure you've found your technique and the way that you move things where you don't need someone to help you lift.
And certain things it might take me a little bit longer, but I've definitely been building up the strength, like to be able to do those maneuvers or even, moving my fermenters around and stuff like that. There's workarounds that I've been able to do, or different techniques or equipment that I've been able to take advantage of to make things a little bit easier. But definitely when I first started, I was like heaving, on my way home, like I'm just exhausted.
Yeah.
Because you don't realize, when you're lugging these bags of grain around all day, or like hoisting things, or even dumping out my mash tun, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
So physically, I'm working my way up there, but there is going to be a certain point where, because of my size or whatever, that I'm not going to be able to do certain things that other guys could do, right? So yeah, I
get yelled at all the time for lifting full kegs. They're like, "Do not lift a full keg."
Yeah,
Why are you doing that?
So I'm like, Ray, come help me lift this keg.
Right. And you know what? I should be doing the same thing. I should be having guys help me lift this.
And there's
full
certain
thing.
things that you need people to do, right? Otherwise, it's just not safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But safety is out the window when time is crunched. But no, that the fact that there shouldn't be that wall for you. This is a job that anyone can do.
And I think a lot of men will use that point exactly to slam the door, right? Yeah. A lot of careers, I was like,
you don't look like a brewer.
Physically, you can't do it, right? Yeah. But there's nowadays with technology, there's just tools that you can use, different techniques. There's different ways to work around it where you don't need to be like a Hulk to do it.
No, absolutely not. And that, excuse me if I overstep, but you're a fine example of, you're a smaller woman and there's nothing saying that you can't go out there and lift the same or move things around. And like you said, there's tools, there's ways around it that things like that shouldn't be the deciding factor.
No, definitely
if you do it not.
It wouldn't be like the final straw to say whether or not I'd be able to do this job. It's like, you're going to make it work. It's just, you got to find out how.
And if you've got someone around to help you, that's great, right?
Yeah.
You take it out, take the pressure or the pain away from yourself of doing it. So
very heavy. So many heavy things. It's worth it though.
Absolutely. At the end of the day.
I like it.
Right. Me too.
Saves me a gym membership too.
Absolutely. When we do the Festa kits at Jake's, right?
Yep.
And those are 6 gallons, 23 liters a piece of full wort.
Of
so
liquid,
that's like 65, 70 pounds a piece.
Heavy.
Liquid is very heavy. And when I make them, we have them down in our end unit at the end of the building. So I got to grab a dolly, go down and get them, lift them onto the dolly. I don't go to the gym, but I move 36 Festa kits in a day.
Yeah.
That's 36 reps of 60 pounds a piece.
And it's all about lifting it right. It's like all of a sudden I have to focus on how I'm bracing myself. Yep. And it's like, no, this is a proper squat now. Yep. You're doing reps.
Do yourself a favor, get a back brace.
Yeah.
Even if it's just one of those quick Velcro ones. I grabbed one, and ever since if I know that I'm going to, when I do Festa kits, if I know that I have to do a lot of heavy lifting, I throw that on and I clamp up and I get myself ready to do it. I don't always have it because sometimes it's I've got to lift one thing. I'm not going to go get my back brace to come back. But
when I first started, they were using a dolly to move the barrels. And if that thing's filled with 110 liters, there was the point where I'd have it shimmied under the dolly, but then to lift the dolly, I'm literally heaving my entire body weight.
Right.
And I can't get the leverage to pull it back to wheel it around. So I'm literally just shoving this thing across the floor.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the leverage to be able to use the dolly.
Yeah, well, 110 liters, that's a lot of weight. What is that? That's,
I don't know,
200 pounds
Yeah,
probably?
It's heavier than I am because I can't lean it back.
For sure.
So I'm literally just shoving this thing across to get to the cold room.
Yeah. Hey, you find the tools, you make it work, right?
But to empty the mash tun, I have to lift it off of the Sabco.
Yep.
And I would sit there with a bucket and I'd scoop out some of the grains before I could even do it. But now I can just lift it off. It's great.
But with that, thanks for being on the show.
Well, thank you very much.
Of course, and cheers, and thank you for watching Brew Talk, everyone. Have a good night.
Cheers.